Hey folks, welcome back to Zalonka, and the first thing we are going to do is take advantage of a great demand that has cropped up for oats. It's not quite the maximum price we can get, but it's close, and I think it makes sense to just get these sold. Now, allegedly, there was a way coming that we could improve the profitability of our crops. By reducing the moisture content. But I think I just want to get these sold. So rather than holding out for that facility, which would allow us to dry them, I believe, we're just going to get these sold. We do need to get some fuel while we're out and about in the Deutz as well. So, yeah, we're going to have to do a couple of trips, but that's fine. You might hear the dogs in the background because they are next to me and they are in a playful mood. So, yeah, if you do, you do. The then, that's good words, isn't it? Good wordage. The plan is, where am I even taking these? The grain mill. Awesome, because I believe that's just there. Yes. Then we need to get ourselves a plough so that we can plough in the stubble from the wheat. And then we're going to prepare for planting barley. So that's the plan. I'm somewhat tempted to see if we can grab a couple of contracts as well. I'm slightly torn between just cracking on and getting our own farming done and making money. And I think, he says slightly on, I think I'm at the point where we just crack on, because we're at the point where the game is evolving a little bit. You know, there are maps and stuff, so the sooner we achieve the things we want to achieve, the sooner we can look at moving on. We are still away from achieving the things we want to achieve, so yeah. But if we actually let's concentrate while we sell. This is going to be about 9 grand-ish. Let's have a little peek. Yeah, thank you, Courseplay, for blocking that. With that amount of money. We will go in and change that in a moment. And all the good value harvesting contracts are going to be the ones that are horrid to do. So we look for something with beans and peas aren't bad, but they don't pay great. So yeah, actually, no, there's not really anything that I fancy doing. I'm not going to hoe myself out. Courseplay setting. Yeah, which means we probably need to go. Oh, yeah. We'll deal with that in a actually, we can get to it from there. Settings. User settings. Next, deactivated. There we go. Right, back to the farm, and we will load up the missing bit and get that sold. Actually see what money we made from it. Go get some diesel and then get ourselves sorted with a plough. The random thought that's just jumped into my head because that's the way my brain works. We buy fuel from a normal fuel station, and I don't know with where we are, because you'd think we would be buying agricultural diesel, but I don't know if that's just a UK thing or applicable to more than just the UK. So yeah, maybe in other countries they just go buy diesel from, you know, the normal fuel station. But as in the UK, and it's not just agricultural, but for, I'm not entirely sure exactly what the classifications are. I know for agricultural purposes and for things like marine purposes, you can use red diesel, which doesn't have some of the tax on it. I'm not going to go into, because I don't know into the detail of what tax it doesn't have on it. But it's cheaper. Why is it red? Why is it called red diesel? It's dyed red so that if you use it in a vehicle which shouldn't be using it, it can be detected because it dyes the fuel filter. Or if they dip the tank, they can see. But also, if you've used it, it stains the fuel filter. But I don't know if other countries have that. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm, you know, talking a whole load of stuff that everyone knows already. But yeah, so as a kid, my first experience of diesel was that diesel was red, because the only diesel vehicles and therefore diesel that I experienced was marine diesels, which were always pretty much run on red diesel. Yeah. That's a bit random for you. Right, let's sell the last of this. I'd actually forgotten that I was going to do this, and I was somewhat smart. I knew I would forget, and so when I slept in game, I slept many times in the real world, but I slept in game before I saved and quit after recording the last video, and I saw the great demand had cropped up, and so I staged the Deutz with the trailer ready so that I didn't forget. We're just going to quickly whiz the trailer back. Is that hail we've got coming or rain? Right, it's only a tiny bit of rain. We'll be fine. It shouldn't be hail when we've got 20 odd degree weather, but you never know with farm sim. You never know. Yeah. Alright, let's go. Brake. So, yeah. Brake. Obviously, next month, hopefully anyway, say obviously, hopefully next month, our soybeans will be ready. And I am still contemplating, I don't know whether I mentioned it in the last video, I was definitely contemplating it, adding in the Yoss's, I think it's Yoss's mod that adds straw from things like soybeans, because that obviously will give us more straw if we get straw from a crop that we wouldn't normally get straw from, but that we have a field to harvest, we will get more straw. Stating the blindingly obvious, I know, but it's part of the job. Part of the job. Oh, the old tax man in the UK was on the ball. It's barely past the end of the tax year, and had my letter saying I need to do my tax return. Not that you need to do it straight away. Got until 31st of January, as we always do in the UK. But yep, he was super on the ball. And yeah, random thing to talk about, I guess. But it genuinely, it was one of the things that I debated in my head as to actually, because I hate doing tax. I used to do Mrs. D's tax return for her business, and I hated it But it's maths and spreadsheets, and I'm not bad at that. And it meant we didn't have to pay someone to do it, which is good because I'm cheap, and her business didn't make huge amounts of money, so not paying an accountant or whatever to do that was good. Her mum used to do the accounts because she used to work in finance, and then when she retired, she didn't want to do it anymore. I'm not sure why she couldn't spend the couple of hours doing that after she retired, but Anyway, so I didn't have to, but I took it on because it meant we didn't have to pay someone to do it. And yeah, I didn't used to enjoy doing it, but like I said, I'm tight, didn't want to spend the money on paying someone to do it. And genuinely, I did debate with the whole doing YouTube and getting to the point where I was going to earn money, whether I actually wanted to keep progressing, because it meant I would have to do a tax return. Yeah, because I hate doing them, genuinely. Hopefully there will come a point, well, maybe not hopefully, I don't know, if there comes a point where I can justify it, I probably will pay someone to do it, because it's not my favourite thing in the world. Let's just put it that way. Right, I know we've got a weight back at the farm, so we don't need to worry about that. I did consider the spader, but I reminded myself, and we will still get weeds with a spader, so discounting that because I want the benefit of not having to deal with weeds. So we want a good old-fashioned plough. Let's remind ourselves how much power we have. 287. Awesome. Hate the way it takes you out of the store when you do that. Plows. So I don't have any modded ones installed. So because it's flat, we could probably use that one. But I think the faff is worth the extra 0.7 of a meter. So I think we're going to lease the Boatinger. For $2,500. And that's quite a nice price as well. I am not averse to that at all. I will quite happily take that. All right. There we go. So I've got my mini keyboard plugged in. I've not made any alterations to it. And I'm curious. Yeah, it looks like a lot of the VCA controls are the same. So this is going to be interesting to see how many of them are mapped to the same keys. I suspect most of them are. Okay, we probably want to give that a fold. Well, they're about to get off the road anyway, but there we go. Yeah. So I used it on the Flashline video because I unpacked it recently. Well, not unpacked it. To give you an idea of how... Well, no, I wasn't using it with FS25 because we didn't have VCA and it's predominantly set up for VCA. But I gave Kartek the one that I had out when we were at Lama. Because I couldn't find the one that I had set up for him because I had packed it away safely when I was tidying some stuff up in in the spare room / my office. Yeah, I think that should be the other way around. But I could be wrong. If I am wrong, oh well, don't be massively offended. Engineer, not a farmer. I think it'll make it a bit easier for me if it's the other way around. Yeah, but I found it. And I used it on the Geistland video, and it was kind of cool using it. So, oh, I wish I'd gone for the other plough that's not trailed. But anyhow, we'll be fine. Right, let's see if working with. Okay, that doesn't look brilliant. VCA. Just going to have a look in the controls for VCA, see if we can. I haven't looked. There might be an update for VCA already. I haven't looked. See, we don't have a menu for it in the version I have installed. But it let's rotate. Oh, that's annoying. So, is there a VCA control for reversing the working width? Because that's normally a menu setting, I think. Snap width, toggle, rotate lane guidance, direction, shift lane, reverse, no, previous, next, determine working width, work area, marker, no, auto back rotate. Sure what that one does. Speed, swap speed. Otherwise, I might just use the built-in. Yeah, I think we'll use the steering assist, line markers on, 4 headlands. That's probably okay. No field detected. Really? Oh, you seem to have worked it out. Right, let's spin round. There we go. And lower it down, and off we go. Let us plough. Wow, that texture change was a bit brutal, wasn't it? Oh well. It was worth it. Oh, I'm using the beta version of I've got installed the beta version of VCA that came out, the first beta version, basically. It may have changed since I installed it. And we just had to pause for Rumour to have a drink. So, yeah, so it might have changed. I haven't checked GitHub, so if it has, then, ignore my bumbling, stumbling use of the mod. It's, I am someone who's very bad at updating mods, even more so if they are mods that aren't on ModHub. But it really doesn't matter, I'm just awful at updating things. Not just in-game either. I think it's a feature of my brain. And that's not an excuse. It's just the way it is. We had to renew our mortgage this month, and I did it the day it was due, which I think means we actually made one payment, not on a good deal, but it's the way my brain is. It's an extra tax that you sometimes pay, apparently. But hey, it is what it is. And this is going quite nicely, actually. I'm not unhappy with the progress that we are making with this. It's a bit of a faff with it not being 3 point. I want to say airborne, but with it being on a wheel, it's a bit of a faff. But I guess we get the extra working with it being set up the way it is, rather than being a 2.5 meter plough. It's a 4.5 meter plough, and 4.5 meters is better than 2.5 meters. Ploughing in the rain, realism is key, folks, but so is progress. Until we get to the point where we can't make progress. I'm not sure if that's a thing. To be honest, with base game, are we going to get stuck? I don't know. We'll find out. We will find out. You probably know, but I don't. So, yeah. Learn with me. Maneuvering this thing is a bit of a pig. That I'll say. Oh, yeah. Maneuvering this thing is horrid. Once it gets past the wrong point, it just does not want to turn. Oh well. We'll make do. We'll make do. There we go. So I think I did mention in a video about doing a Microsoft Flight Sim video last week, and I recorded some game footage, and I sat down last weekend to try and turn it into a video. And honestly, I think it's going to be better if I just re-record it, because trying to put commentary over the top was really hard. Because some dude kept talking, and actually I just found it quite challenging and to try and approach doing that. So yeah, I'm just trying to find a slot where I have some time to tackle that, because I think that could be really fun. But equally, as always, things are too busy all of the time at the moment. Why does that now not want to give me my line? I'm pretty sure that's not the line. Maybe that is the line. The line is a dot. Yeah, we'll just go with it. Just go with it. Yeah. Oh well, it is what it is. Yeah, so I'm going to have a crack at that at some point, but it's one that I can't really record in my main recording setup, which is sat in the reclining armchair, because I need to be able to use the joystick. Well, I want to use the joystick because it's more fun. So yeah, time is a little bit limited, but I'm kind of curious about just a little bit more diversity on the games that I play, which will shock some of you because, you know, change is bad. Seriously, game. You got that. Sync. There we go. But equally, there's just a few games that I'm kind of curious about playing, and I could just play them, and that'd be fine. But I could play them and make a video or two and just see whether it's interesting or not. So yeah, Microsoft Flight Sim is a game that I've played a little bit of, and I think it's kind of interesting to play. One that I keep looking at, and so I've played a little bit of ETS 2, I guess it is, and I'm always really curious about American Truck Sim. And I've been looking at picking that up and maybe playing that a little bit. There's a little bit of casual fun. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's get this thing to kick its back end out. Or at least just get room to maneuver it. There we go. I've got all these ideas for things that I would like to do. It's just not enough hours in the day for everything, is there? Or enough mental energy. That's what I'm finding at the moment, actually. There is not enough mental energy for everything. Is definitely a problem. Hours in the day is a thing, but not enough neurons to do everything that I would like to do. Not just with Farm Sim or with YouTube or with with YouTube, in fact, because it's not just Farm Sim these days, is it? I had contemplated, so I did the accidental hitting go live last weekend. I think it was on Friday night. I was doing some recording and I accidentally hit the go live button for Twitch, because it's a keyboard shortcut, and I fat fingered the keyboard. And some people got excited, but I would like to be able to do that again, but it's a mental energy thing. And streaming is a huge mental toll for me. Being live is a big mental energy thing. But I thought about it this weekend. I thought about streaming on Friday this week. Intentionally, not accidentally. It wouldn't have been tractors, to disappoint the only tractor fans here. But yeah, I just didn't have the mental energy. But it was yeah. So I'm kind of sticking in my wheelhouse at the moment with the things that I do the things I can do. And trying to not get too annoyed when I don't get everything done that I want to do. Like the fact that I'm not making anywhere near the number of videos that I would like to make in a week. But, you know, it is what it is. Like the fact that I've not updated that guy yet. So I've changed, I think I spoke about it last time actually, possibly, but I've changed my working pattern again. And I'm not overnighting at the moment. Because Mrs. D's having a bit of a dip health-wise. And being away. I'm trying to minimize being away, basically. So I'm doing all of my in the office stuff with driving there and back to work. So rather than doing one trip to work overnight, doing my 2 days in the office and then drive home, doing more driving in a week. I've lost my hotel recording slot that I used to have. That evening's been replaced with 2 hours of driving to get home. So, don't record, obviously. Maybe not obviously, but yeah. Get home from work completely exhausted rather than a short drive to a hotel and being able to do stuff. And just overall, that's meaning I'm more tired. The cumulative effect is more, which is really frustrating because back when I was a few years younger, and it's not that many years, prior to that global thing that meant we all stayed at home, I used to drive to work 3 days a week. It was tiring, but I would do it. And I used to only work at home 2 days a week. And then that thing happened, and we went to everyone working at home 5 days a week, which was great. And then when we went back to being in the office, I went to 2 days a week. And then over time, I evolved to 2 days a week, but staying overnight, because the cost difference wasn't huge, because certainly initially hotels were really cheap because they just wanted to get people in the door. And so they were doing really good rates. And actually, I can still get a hotel really cheap near where I work, depending on the day. Some days not so much at all. But equally, it's just overall less tiring. But yeah, because Mrs. D has been struggling a lot more, I've not been doing that for the last since pretty much since I got back from my dad being ill. I've not been doing the overnights. So that's made everything just a bit harder. Well, life is just that bit more tiring. Yeah. It is what it is. We carry on. We do what we can do. So, this is, after all, a hobby. So, yeah, we should try and remember to grab and thumbnail of ploughing in the rain. So, and I've done this so that partly, well, 2 reasons, often 2 reasons still. You've been here a while, you'll get that. So that we don't get weeds, and so that hopefully we can just plant, because when we planted the oats, we had all the I think it was when we did the oats, of the cedar that we had. We just couldn't get it to plant because it was just being difficult. Alright, I don't want to ruin the grass, but I also want to get Yep, that'll do. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Awesome. Yeah, we're going to need to do one more pass, probably, I think. And there we go. I remember it was a robust fence. You might have heard of him. He makes YouTube videos. Farm Sim guy? Might have heard of him. When he did his attempt at a realism series, I think he only did a couple of streams, I think. I certainly only watched a couple of them anyway, because he streams quite, for me, normally relatively late. But it was, he was doing the whole only in cab and a bunch of other stuff. And I remember someone suggested that one of the rules he should have, he should always have to have create fields on when he's ploughing. And I always think that's an interesting one because, if you're trying to plough a field with a real plough, not with like a square plough, it gets really hard. You'd have to get like a really small plough to do the headlands to get edges, or you'd have to leave it. And maybe you leave it and you don't plough the very edges of the field. Maybe that's what real farmers do. I don't know. Speaking of real farmers, the farm local to me, the one that has the tractor that I really, really like, they were out planting spuds on Friday afternoon. Wow, they were using a lot of kit. I think they had 4 tractors out, plus a telehandler. So the spuds they were planting were in big potato boxes. Probably, obviously, it's what they'd stored them in over the winter. They are huge. So they had the telehandler for handling the potato boxes. I think I'd missed, so I think they'd had another tractor there because I think the 2 track had been out because there was a big. I forgot in game actually. There was a big Amazon disc. I think it was a big Amazon disc harrow on the edge of the field. So I think the field was freshly disced. And then there were 3 tractors working in the field. And then there was a 4th on the side of the field that had another potato planter that they weren't using. So I'm assuming there was one ridging, one planting, and I don't know what the other one was doing because they were really far away from me, so I couldn't actually see what they were doing. But yeah, it was kind of cool. It was cool seeing them working. And yesterday, later in the day, just realizing it was all Friday, we don't need to plough anymore, or do we hang on to it for the soybean field? Yeah, maybe we hang on to it actually for the soybean field. Later in the day, I drove past the other end of the field, and saw they had some very nice, neat ridges in the field where they had been planting the potatoes. And it's kind of cool because they don't normally plant that field with potatoes. They normally plant some of the fields which are further away, and it means I'll actually get to see the process. So kind of looking forward to that. So we're just going to do a quick check of the animals. We've got a couple of 1,000 litres of slurry. I'm not too worried about putting that through. That's okay. The BGA, we could try and spread some digestate on the probably not in the rain, maybe. But it looks like it's about to finish raining, so let's give that a quick go. I don't think that'll take too long. And then next time we can skip ahead to harvesting the soybeans. Hopefully there's enough in here to do a coat of the field. Be good if there was. If there's not, there's not. But and actually, hopefully, we can VCA this one. Yes. Good stuff. Let's go. That, let's turn that off. Not convinced on that working with, you know. Oh, it needs alignment as well. Oh, it looks right. Okay. So we do need to lime it as well. Off we go. Oh yeah, that's okay. Awesome. But yeah, we do need to lime the field as well before we plant it. So that's going to be... We've got lime by the looks of it. It's just... I know a mod that will tell us. Yep, we've got 4,500 litres of lime. So we might be able to get that done, you know. Not today. I think by the time we've finished this job, we'll be about done. But... should probably leave a bit of a headland so that we can turn around. Probably makes sense. There we go. Off we go again. And we've used half a tank already, but we've covered, yeah, maybe half the field. So we might get away with this, you know. Get away with, like we're cheating or something. I don't think spreading digestate is cheating. You never know. Some might think it is. So I think we will, as we are close to the PGA, grab a top up. And I reckon we might actually be able to cover the field, you know. Almost like things are working out for us. Because a bit of free fertilization is pretty darn good. Bung that back on. Off we go. Yep. Not too worried if we have the odd tiny missed bit. Oh, getting stuff done. That's what we like to see. What I'll do is I'll quickly do the headland at the end here, or we run back up the other way. That seems like a sensible idea. I don't know if you can hear him, but one of the dogs is snoring next to me. Okay. Awesome stuff. Get a nice base layer of fertilization going to start the process. And that will be pretty good. While we do this last run, I think it's a good time to say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. You are all awesome. If you're interested in any of those, there is either the button down below to join YouTube or the link to join the Patreon. And you get most through Patreon. Most of the videos are on there the night before they are released on YouTube. Most, not all, and not always. So just depends how organized I am. Bosh! And we could probably grab that little gap as well. Because we've got a few litres left in there, and it probably wouldn't hurt to be empty. So we can move some slurry around. So I'm just going to dump that last little bit. Sweet. And on that note, I think we will call it a day. So, yeah. Good stuff. Thanks for watching, folks. Hope you have enjoyed the video. And I will see you all next time.